Hello, and thank you for tuning in to a Trip Hacks DC live stream. We are checking out the holiday lights in Washington, D.C. on a brisk but nice Sunday afternoon. It is 4:30 local time, and hopefully we'll be dark and we'll be able to see the city with the holiday lights as we go around. Like I said, this is a live stream, so if you're watching this on the replay, welcome. Go ahead and watch through and leave me a comment at the end and let me know which of the holiday decorations are your favorite. Or if you are joining me here live, hello, and go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let me know that you're here and let me know where in the world you are tuned in from. I know it's a little late for the Europeans, but hopefully everyone is able to join before it is time to go to sleep over on that side of the world. And I did get started a little bit late, so apologies to those who are tuned in live. As you saw in the chat, I was waiting for a motorcade, so I will tell you a little bit about that experience after I begin. Walter's World, good to see you, my friend. I am not being taken anywhere by Secret Service, thankfully. They were just waiting to let somebody through. And Ocean Angel, yes, knows the experience of not being able to get through somewhere. Jay Stewart, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for giving this video a thumbs up. Always appreciate it. And Almighty Joe says yo. So yo to you as well. So I'll go ahead and flip the camera around, begin the walk, and say hello as we wait. So, Ocean Angel, am I behind a limo? So there was a limo that they were waiting for. Oh, focus, focus. Let's see if I can get this focused on me. Let's get this focused on the front camera. There we go. So I wanted to do this live stream today because it is almost the end of Hanukkah, but did it today so I could swing by the National Menorah before Hanukkah ends. This is big menorah that they put up here on the ellipse every year. It is about 30 feet tall. I have learned it is not the tallest menorah in the world. There are some that are 31 feet tall, 32 feet tall. I know there's one that's slightly bigger in New York City. There's one that's slightly bigger in Berlin. Last year when I posted about this menorah on TikTok, people made sure to let me know that it's not the tallest, and they have seen a bigger one. But it's not a competition, right? So they had the lighting ceremony here last week and wanted to make sure I was able to see it while it is still up. Bit breezy today. Like I said, about 4:30 local time, which is just a few minutes before sunset. And let me go ahead and make sure I say hello to everyone. Mark Finley, good to see you there, my friend. Chatting with Walter's World. By the way, Walter's World just posted some excellent new Christmas content about the Christmas Story House. So go over and watch that, as I have watched all the Christmas Story videos that have been posted on Walter's World. So this is one of my go-to views right here. You get the National Menorah. Straight ahead, you get the White House right over there. And then we've got the National Christmas Tree, where I will be going next. So Jay Stewart says it is 9:40 p.m. over in the UK, and I am sorry, Jay, I double booked the live stream for some NFL games, which goes to show how big of an NFL fan I am. Kelvina Connor in the Caribbean. Anguilla, did I say that correctly? And Ocean Angel, good to see you there. PKJLR, Phil from Liverpool, England has tuned in. And Alan Wynn, good afternoon, my friend. No morning live stream today, Alan. Waited a little bit later so we could catch the lights once they are turned on. And Cat, hello. Good to see you there, Cat. And Christy from Florida, planning a trip to DC late 2022. Sounds good to me. So that will be in about 1 year. So you've got plenty of time to do your research and make your arrangements. Grass not looking so hot over in this part of the ellipse, but it is December and grass is not supposed to be green year round, so forgivable. Ocean Angel will be in DC next month. I assume that means January. And Cat is from Vienna, Virginia, not too far from here. Good to see you too, Mark Finley. And Ben from Belfast just discovered the channel. Can't get enough of DC. I agree, it is a beautiful city. Ben, I have been wanting to see that new movie called Belfast. Looks like it could be an Oscar contender. And I have actually been to Belfast myself. One of the few spots in Europe that I have been. And Dave Wheeler tuned in from an always sunny and not too warm California coast. PKJLR, Phil, voting for the Walters World collab in the new year. As soon as they come back, it'll happen. I'm here. I'm always here. So whenever they make it through, we'll make that happen, Phil. And Caroline from Quebec, Canada. An excellent part of the world, if I may say. And Dave Wheeler says watching through the computer, which is a good way to chat. And Sandy has it on the TV. I have actually been started watching more live streams on the TV. It's actually a good way to do it. Jason Moore will be in DC in late March. Excellent. Spring break. And yes, Mark Finley has done a collab with Walters World. Remind me what you guys did, Mark. You were cooking something, right? Some kind of food-related video. For some reason, I'm remembering all of you together in a kitchen. And Jacob Weiss is in DC right now. Have you come to see the Christmas sights yet, Jacob? If not, you can get an idea from this and then go see him on your trip. Yes, last week I did post the video with the Megan Daly. That was a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. And of course, one of my favorite collaborations simply because she is a tour guide. And us tour guides got to stick together during tough times. Irene is from Spain, coming to DC in 2 weeks. Oh, excellent. Is this your first time, Irene? We haven't had too many Europeans until recently. And Ocean Angel wonders if I should wait till February. Looking for an apartment in January might be too cold. I wouldn't wait. I don't know what cold has to do with looking for an apartment. Can look for an apartment anytime. Oh, Mark Finley was talking about a collaboration from 2017 on Jocelyn's channel. Was it that long ago? Huh. Guess time flies when you're having fun. Can't believe it's been that long. 2017. All right, so we have nearly arrived at the first stop, the National Christmas Tree. Now, the National Christmas Tree is here on the Ellipse. It is by far the most popular Christmas tree in DC. The most visited, always has the biggest crowds. I do not personally think it is the best Christmas tree in Washington, D.C., but I will let you judge for yourself. And if you have visited here before, I would love to hear what you think about it as well. Now, important to say that the National Christmas Tree is not a cut tree like you probably have in your living room. So it is a live tree. It is planted in the ground. It's supposed to live year-round. Now, if you have been following along the saga of the National Christmas Tree, or you watched my live stream on Independence Day 6 months ago when I walked past here, there was no National Christmas Tree. It was just a stump in the ground. And so the tree died earlier this year, the previous one. The previous tree was a blue spruce, and they just replanted a new one that you are about to see, and it was planted around Halloween, and it is a white fir. Now, if anyone is a plant expert in the live chat, go ahead and explain to me the difference between a blue spruce and a white fir, because I do not know. All I know is that the new Christmas tree is actually looking pretty nice. I'm actually pretty impressed. because the National Christmas tree last year when I came and did this was looking pretty sad. So let's go ahead and go in. All right, thank you for posting those links, Mark. I will check those out when I get home. All right, Ocean Angel, don't like cold and January is cold. Well, February is cold too, so not really sure what to tell you. If you don't like cold at all, this might not be a great destination. Now the trees around the perimeter, this is called the Pageant of Peace. Each state gets its own little tree. Now these are cut trees. They're not the biggest ones that you find at the Christmas tree yard, but each state gets its own tree, and the decorations on the tree are themed for that state, and they come from usually school kids in the state where they're from. So they are in alphabetical order, so somewhat easy to find if you're looking for any in particular. The one that just happens to be right in front of me, this one is from Oregon, and the ornaments are created by the Oregon School for the Deaf. So that's pretty cool. Now when you walk around the perimeter here, there's always people stopping for photos, selfies. Last year they did set up a little selfie spot, which I thought was really a good idea, and they did not repeat that this year, which I think is a bit unfortunate. All right, so let's take a moment to stop and check out this year's National Christmas tree. Uh-oh. All right, the gimbal has gone haywire on me. Trying to fix it now. Bear with me here. Always got to stop for the technical. All right. Is everyone still here? That was unfortunate, but that's what happens. That's live TV for you. So what is especially impressive about this year's tree, and you'll only know this if you've seen the National Christmas tree before, is that they actually strung the lights and the ornaments on the branches, which is different from what they have done in the past, where they would put a big net up around the tree, like on the sides and above and below, and then they would string the lights on that. So you were basically just looking at a big net with lights on it, and if there wasn't even a tree under there, you might not even know. And so I am quite impressed that this year they actually went ahead and strung the lights on the branches, which I guess means that the branches are strong enough. And I suspect the reason why they didn't do this in the past is because the tree was just not in good enough health, and so they didn't want to put anything even remotely heavy on the branches because they were afraid of damaging it. All right, Jay Stewart with the thumbs up. Fix the technical glitch there. Sorry about that. Unfortunate timing there. And Mark Finley, leave a like if you don't mind. Yeah, we got a big, what do you call this? Big group of birds flying up there, as Simon Elder has pointed out. All right, so I will begin continue around the perimeter here. So like I said, stop for the Pageant of Peace on the outer perimeter. One tree for each state and the territories. Don't forget about the territories. Sometimes we talk about the 50 states and we forget about the territories, but they are important too. Marcus wants to know about the weather in December. It's usually, December's not the coldest month, but it's usually a brisk month. Usually don't get down below freezing, but it's possible. Not likely, but possible. And of course, the White House straight up ahead. So you do get the good view while you're over here. But that is a lot of birds over there. And yes, this is the south side of the White House. I was originally planning on starting this over on the north side at Lafayette Square, come around to this side, and then see the menorah and the tree. But as will happen when you come to the White House, they had Pennsylvania Avenue on the other side of the White House closed off, and I would have had to detour very, very far to get back around and to get over to this side. So I decided to ditch that idea and just come start over here, which wound up being kind of a bust too because I got caught in that motorcade. So one more peek over at the National Christmas Tree while we're over here. This is another good view from this spot here because you can get the tree and the Washington Monument in about the same spot. And they are roughly about the same height. Not exactly the same height, but roughly about the same height. So if you want to get a good picture, that's not a bad spot right there. And I think I missed the question about when does it get dark. It gets dark around 5 o'clock. So give it another 5-10 minutes and it should be pretty dark around here. But the lights turn on at sunset, or a little bit before, so they came on about 4:30. All right, Mark Finley has a good question. Is everything back open or closed back down again? Well, nothing closed back down. A few things that were closed never really reopened, like the Capitol Visitor Center never reopened, but for the most part, everything that closed reopened, or at least partially reopened. The Smithsonian, to my great frustration, is still only open 5 days per week. So you have to check. You have to go onto the Smithsonian Visitor website and double check which are the 5 days that each museum is open. Nick says Air and Space is closed. No, that's not true. It is closed 2 days per week, but it is open the other 5. Both of them are. So the Udvar Hazy Center in Virginia is the big one. That's where you get the space shuttle, all the big airplanes. The one on the National Mall is open, but it is under a massive multi-year renovation. So it's not a great place to visit at the moment, in my opinion, because there's a lot of dust, a lot of work happening, and that's going to be the case for the next few years as well. But you can still go. And Jay Stewart has questions about rumors. I don't do anything with rumors, Jay. Rumors are just rumors. And not worth engaging with them, in my opinion. So yes, the Air and Space Museum on the National Mall is under renovation, so you will not be able to see everything that's open. With that one, definitely double check before your trip to see what is open and which sections are open, which sections are not open. Maybe you don't care, maybe you just want to go see anything inside the Air and Space Museum. Yes, you're talking about next March. Okay. It is open right now. But come next March, I'll have another I'll have another one of those update videos. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future updates. Now, if you've tuned into any of these live streams before, I have an announcement. It's not really a very exciting announcement, but I did realize today, as I was preparing for this one, that this is the 1-year anniversary of these live streams. The first one of these I did was very similar. It was a Christmas live stream, Christmas/holiday live stream, and it was 1 year ago at the very beginning of December. And I mostly did it because I didn't have much else to do. There were no tours back then, and I didn't really have a lot of video content either. So I tried it, I tested it. People seemed to enjoy it enough that I decided to keep it going. So let me know if you remember that one from 1 year ago. If you are a true OG, tuned into the very first one. It was on a Sunday, but it was during the morning, so it was not after dark like this one is. But let me know if you remember that very first one. Let me go ahead and pop across the street here. And Jamie Smith, I am sure this is live, like happening right now. And he GG watched it, but not live but recorded. Well, that's okay. You still saw it. And Alan Wynn, thank you, my friend. 1 year of live streams. I think you've tuned into many of them, Alan, perhaps more than anyone else. Not 100% sure, but I know you've tuned into many of them. Okay, Gary Sorensen asks where I am. So this is Pennsylvania Avenue is the street right here that the bus is about to turn onto. So that's Pennsylvania Avenue. And then this is 15th Street right here, 15th Street Northwest. And yeah, there's always Secret Service over on this corner because this is one of 2 spots where you can enter into the White House from in a car. So the other one is on the other side on 17th Street. And that's where I got stuck in that motorcade earlier because everyone who was walking on the sidewalk, they said, hey, hold on, we've got somebody coming through. And then we waited for like 5 minutes. And then eventually, I guess whoever was coming through never made it. So they said, all right, go ahead and cross. And then we crossed. And then I have no clue if that person that they were waiting for ever came. But they made us wait for a solid 5 minutes before they let us cross. And Jay Stewart loves the live walks. Good to hear it, Jay. And only missed one. Do you know which the one was, Jay? You've definitely tuned into many of them as well. And Ben, this is the first live stream. Still a newbie. That's okay, Ben. Glad to have you here. And Jason, good to see you, my friend. No problem. Happy to do it. So, walking up 15th Street right now. Now, the reason I was thinking about 1 year ago when I did this is because this spot right here was a big construction pit. And now it is the National World War I Memorial. So I'm going to take a quick walk through here. And people have been asking about this for a long, long time. And it opened this spring. Now it is not on the TripHacks DC Monuments tour route. That's a little bit off the path, the beaten path. And I have to say, I am actually very surprised that they decided to go with all of this water at this one, because water is a bit dangerous. When you build a monument with water, you could wind up like the FDR Memorial, where the water doesn't work for years at a time and is kind of a bummer. Or at the World War II Memorial, where they have to turn off the water for a quarter of the year because they don't want it to freeze, and you wind up with a monument with no water. But they decided to do it, and it actually looks pretty nice. And Mark Finley just became a member. Fantastic. Glad to have you as a member, Mark. I will be doing the TripHacks DC extended walk today at the conclusion of this one. I don't know how long I will be going because I did not start with 100% battery today. Started with a little less than 100%. Now, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed that the Willard, they have their usual holiday decorations up on the outside, and they do have the tree and the wreath over on this side. But in the past, they've done a little bit more, and they've had more outdoor decorations that you could stop by and see, even if you weren't staying at the hotel. So it's hard to complain, beggars can't be choosers, but I know in the past they've done a little bit more with their outdoor decorations. So you can still do the tree, get a good picture there with the wreath and everything. But if you're looking for a place to stay that's good for the holidays, that's probably my top pick if you want a holiday themed hotel. Oh yes, Jay, I remember that too. We had a bit of a confusion on the time zones, converting the time zones. I always post the times in Eastern time, the local time, but if you're tuning in from another part of the country or another part of the world, you have to translate those into your own time zone. And HeGG says still pretty. I agree. It's hard to complain about holiday decorations, no matter what they are. And I suppose if you've never seen the Willard holiday decorations before, they do look quite nice. It's only once you've seen some of the stuff they used to have that you think, oh, that's too bad they didn't bring it back. But unfortunately, the National World War I Memorial, like I said, it opened this spring. It opened in 2021, which means that it is a war memorial that opened after all of the veterans had already passed. So no World War I veterans were ever able to make it here because of when it opened. And unfortunately, that means it opened kind of with very little fanfare. They did have a small ceremony, but the World War II Memorial, for example, opened with much, much bigger fanfare, simply because they were able to bring in so many veterans, well-known veterans. And as Mark Finley posted in the chat earlier, Bob Dole just passed away, which I just saw the headline as I was walking over. Bob Dole used to go to the World War II Memorial on an almost daily basis, I think, when it first opened, and he would like to greet the veterans as they came off their tour buses. So us tour guides got to see him all the time, because we were there, he was there. So this park has always been called Pershing Park, after this guy, General John J. Pershing. So now they've got a nice brightly lit statue of him there. Let me know if you had ever come to this park before they built this memorial. It was never exactly especially beloved part of town. All right, being quiet here so I don't trip on these stairs. Okay, Ramil tuned in from Las Vegas, where it is 2:05 in the afternoon. Good to see you there. And let's say Phil says, do any famous people turn on the Christmas lights in DC? So pre-pandemic in the UK, we used to get various famous people switching on the Christmas lights. So at the National Christmas Tree, the one that I left 10 minutes ago, the first family switches it on. So that ceremony was on Thursday. It was on Thursday, I remember, because I was out here giving a tour. And you never, ever, ever, so this is a life tip if you live in DC, never attempt to drive downtown on the day of the National Christmas Tree lighting ceremony, because they have many, many roads closed, and it is not a pleasant experience. So fortunately, I don't drive, and my tour guests on Thursday, they arrived on foot, so no trouble there. And it was actually kind of nice, because there were not very many people out on the National Mall, possibly because nobody wanted to deal with that, but for such a nice weather day on Thursday, not too many people out there. Oh, and yes, Phil, the other one, the Capitol Christmas Tree, which is where I will be in another 30 minutes, that one is switched on by the Speaker of the House. So the Speaker of the House is responsible for giving a little speech and switching on the Capitol Christmas tree. And I did hear that there was a very small ceremony this year for that. That is typically also on the day when the Speaker will throw their big blowout end of the year holiday party, which I do not know if that happened this year or not. Austin A. says that Pershing was a 6-star general, the only one in U.S. history. That's fascinating. I'm going to have to study on that, as I don't actually know what a 6-star general is. I know what a 5-star general is. Unfortunately, the National World War I Memorial, I couldn't even include it on my tour because I haven't studied it enough to tell you what all the intricate details are in that one. And no problem, Phil. Now, are the people who switch on your Christmas lights, are they political people like ours, or are they like celebrities? The National Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony, it is like a show, so there's like singers and dancers, and I believe it's going to be on TV tonight. I believe it's going to be on CBS, so if anyone wants to check their DVR or TV listings and confirm, I believe it's going to be on CBS. I don't remember the exact time. Possibly 8:30. And Ocean Angel says being immortalized in gold. Is that really what it means? I'm actually not sure. Maybe Austin A. knows. Can chime in here. All right, so we are now on Pennsylvania Avenue. I will make my way down to Pennsylvania Avenue. Not much has changed on this street since last year. There is one big change, though, and that is at the former museum, RIP, which is being renovated into something new. So Phil says at various places the Christmas lights are switched on by celebrities, but the Prime Minister switches on the lights in Downing Street. Okay, that makes sense. So I know that the Rockefeller Center tree lighting, that also happened last week, I think a few days before the national tree lighting here in DC. I did not watch it on TV. I typically skip those because my opinion is that once you've seen it once, you've kind of seen it. There's not really anything new year to year. No, they do have different performers, I suppose, and different person presses the button and all that, but I chose to skip it this year. I assume that in other cities in the U.S., the lights are switched on by a celebrity or a local celebrity rather than a big national person. So if you have a local celebrity in your town who switches on the lights, put it in the chat. I'm curious to know how it works everywhere. So can't remember who asked when it's going to be dark. I feel like it's awfully dark right about now. 5:10 p.m. local time. It'll take a few minutes to get down to the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue, so send in any questions in the chat that you have in the meantime. I can entertain them as I make my way down. So Phil and Jay say that in some places you have a local radio station hosts and plays music and does a countdown. It's interesting. Kind of a blast from the past to hear about radio stations and local radio hosts. Okay, Austin A. coming in with the knowledge here. Says Pershing was awarded the rank General of the Armies, which is superior to the General of the Army, singular, which is what a 5-star general is. And Washington was considered that too posthumously. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking if anyone was going to be considered a rank higher than a 5-star Army general, it would be George Washington. So it makes sense that he would have been given that, even if posthumously. Thank you for the knowledge there, Austin A. Still not a whole lot happening downtown these days. It's always pretty quiet on a Sunday night on Pennsylvania Avenue in any case, so not that I was expecting anything necessarily over in this part of town. But if you just tuned in, we've got a good crowd here now. We've got a little over 40 people tuned in now, so welcome. If you haven't introduced yourself yet, go ahead and say hello in the live chat and let me know where you're tuned in from, what part of the world, and if you've ever been here before to Washington, D.C. for the holiday decorations and the holiday lights. If this is your first time tuning into a live stream, welcome. My name is Rob, founder of TripHacks DC. So if you are enjoying the live stream, you can press the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. All the things. This is a really, really long light to have to wait through. And if you're tuned in now, you do have good timing. I am about 2/3 of the way to the Capitol Christmas tree, which is, in my opinion, the best of the Christmas trees in DC. All right, finally got the light. All right, sounds like Mel from the Spice Girls switched on some lights one year in Liverpool. Simon Davey, good to see you, my friend. From a cold Reading, UK. And with friend Bob. Welcome, Bob. And we have J.K. Rowling switching on our Harry Potter themed lights on Wednesday. That's interesting. Isn't J.K. Rowling from Scotland, or am I mistaken? I could very well be mistaken. And Ocean Angel says that Wikipedia says 6-star general was never recognized by the military or Congress. So perhaps it is an informal award. Gonna have to do more study on this. Oh, and Ben says, unfortunately, the switching on of Christmas lights in Belfast has been canceled. Are they still turning them on? I hope they're still turning them on, even if there's no show. And I want to see 50 flags of each state. So you can go to Columbus Circle next to Union Station, and there are all of the state flags flying on Columbus Circle. So if you want to see what the state flags look like, that's where you can do it. Now, state flags are fascinating to me because many states have terrible flags. Not all. Some states have amazing flags, like New Mexico. You guys killed it on the flag. But many states just have awful state flags. So let me know which ones you like and which ones you don't like. My opinion on state flags is that if it has the name of the state written out as a word, that's not a good flag. All right, Austin A. tuned in from Cleveland, was in DC for New Year's Eve, but don't remember seeing any Christmas decorations. The Christmas decorations basically come down on January 1st, probably even the day before. So unlike in other parts of the world, I know in some parts of the world they keep the Christmas decorations up until mid-January, but around here it's like if you come after January 1st, you missed them. They're pretty much all gone. And Arctic Penguin from the Seattle area was born in DC and grew up in Maryland. Good to see you there, Arctic Penguin. And Simon Davey was in DC for Christmas 2 years ago, and was lucky to take part in carols in Congress. I'm not familiar with that. What is that, Simon? Curious to know. Yes, Jay Stewart says 4 years ago he attended the city center tree lighting, which was on Thanksgiving weekend. So I am going to do another live walk 2 weeks from now, and I will do some of the other holiday stuff. I'll do city center, the downtown holiday market. What else is there to do? Oh, the ice skating rink at the National Gallery of Art. So 2 weeks from now, mark your calendar. You heard it here first. Yes, good morning, good evening, depending on where in the world you're tuned in from. I'm going to go ahead and cross up here because of that construction I mentioned earlier. I've got to cross and then cross back again farther down the street. And M. Mobini has not seen the lights in DC. Well, good thing you're tuned in to this here. You can see some of them on screen at least, although they are, of course, always better in person. And from China, it is Monday morning. It's always fun to think about how in another side of the world, it's the next day. It is Sunday night here on the East Coast, Monday morning on the other side of the world. All right, this is the National Archives straight ahead. And I want to stop here for a moment because if you have come on a Trip Hex DC Monuments Tour, if you came on the full Monuments Tour in the summer or the spring or the fall, we go to the FDR Memorial. And one of the fascinating things about the FDR Memorial is that it's huge. It's the biggest monument, square footage-wise, of all the monuments on the tour. And Franklin Roosevelt didn't want it. So when he was alive, someone asked Franklin Roosevelt what he wanted his future memorial to look like, and he said that he didn't really want one, but if we insist, it should be modest, and it should be small. It should be approximately the size of his desk, and it should only have, modest words on it. So here we are, the National Archives, which was created when Franklin Roosevelt was president. And on the grass, on the side of the building, is a small desk-sized stone that says, "In memory of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, with his year of birth and his year of death." And so, isn't that something? We actually built the one that he asked for, the one that he said that he wanted. We built it right here on the spot where he said he wanted it to be. And then in the 1990s, we decided, Franklin Roosevelt, that guy didn't know what was good for him. And we disrespected his wishes and built a giant FDR Memorial on the tidal basin. But people are always asking me for the hidden gems. Everybody wants the hidden gems. So if you like hidden gems, there's your hidden gem for the evening. Usually I don't come on this side of the street. I go on the opposite side of the street because right across the street is the Navy Memorial. And that's more of a memorial that people want to see. But as I was coming over today, I was thinking, I always stop at the Navy Memorial. Plus, the Navy Memorial is just not as good of an experience when the water's turned off, which it is today. So instead, why not stop at the hidden gem, the OG original FDR Memorial. All right, let's see. Rebecca says, wow, I was there two times. Yes, the Intercontinental, the Willard Hotel is definitely a wow. Rebecca from New York City, one of my favorite places to visit. If you haven't seen it, I had collaboration with the Megan Daily, posted last Sunday. Half on my channel, half on her channel. We did a compare and contrast of Washington, D.C. and New York. A lot of fun. A lot of work to make, but a lot of fun. And hopefully there will be more of those in the future. Ocean Angel is trying to cook and watch, so research will have to wait. We'll have to wait. What are you cooking there, Ocean? And Colin, using the sweet TripHacks DC special emojis, tuned in from Omaha. Good to see you there, Colin. Hopefully you can join for the extended live walk today, which I will begin after we make it to the Capitol Christmas tree. I don't know how long I'll be able to go today for the extended walk, as I did not start with 100% battery today. But we'll go as long as we can. All right, fortunately I don't know how to pronounce, our friend from China, I don't know how to pronounce your name. So if you have a nickname or something, let me know and I can use that instead. And Simon Davey says, currently lives in Edinburgh. I think that means J.K. Rowling currently lives in Edinburgh. So I guess I was barking up the right tree at least. With J.K. Rowling. Austin A says Ohio has the best flag. I don't know if I agree with that, but I will say that Ohio has the only state flag that is not a rectangle. So it's unique, at least in that regard. But it does have some good elements. For example, it does not have the word Ohio on it. That to me is just a sign of a not great flag. The best world flags do not have words on them. Okay, Austin A says Maryland has the second best. Maryland does have a pretty unique one too. And Dave Wheeler says, have there been a lot of restaurants that have closed due to the pandemic? Many closed temporarily. I don't know if you're asking about permanently. Yes, some did close permanently. Fewer than I think a lot of people feared. A lot fewer than I think a lot of people feared. I mean, restaurants are still opening and closing for the same reasons they always have. Disputes with the landlord. I just read about Cava Meze, which was the full-service restaurant that started the Cava fast casual place. It just closed, but I guess it allegedly closed because of a dispute with the landlord, which seems to be the most common reason why restaurants close. So, long answer to that question, Dave. Yes, some have closed, but could have been a lot worse. Okay, HeGG likes the Illinois flag. It's simple, but still, sometimes simple is good. And Rebecca loves Washington. Glad to hear it. I love New York. You love Washington. It's a good trade. Yes, you can see all the state flags at Union Station. I will not be going there today, but I have gone there in the past. So I did a live stream last winter, probably late January, early February, if you want to try to find that one. I did walk past Union Station on Columbus Circle, so you should be able to see it there. And Marcus says no lights on the trees or the streets. No, not on Pennsylvania Avenue. This has always been a quiet part of town, especially on a Sunday night. But there are neighborhood lights this year. So I know about a dozen neighborhoods are doing neighborhood lights. And so DC is too big to have them strung up everywhere, but they picked special areas of certain neighborhoods where they're going to do them. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is the former museum, RIP, and it is gutted, and they are converting it into Johns Hopkins University Graduate School campus. So no idea when the scheduled opening is for that. Looks like they still got a lot of work to do in there. But the museum is not a COVID casualty. The museum closed on December 31st, 2019. And the plan was always to convert the building into Johns Hopkins Graduate Campus. So quite sad, because that was a pretty good museum. And Simon says, it was a chance to sing Christmas carols to members of Congress with some churches in the DC area. I think it's been paused because of COVID. Okay, that's interesting. Did not know about that. Was not familiar with that. Hey, Evan Cortez, good to see you there, my friend. I did not go to New York for the collaboration. I went to New York because I wanted a break. It's been a while since I've traveled anywhere, and unfortunately I didn't have very much time. I only had 2 days, so I would have loved to try to reach out to everyone's favorite New York YouTubers, but Megan is a fellow tour guide, so I wanted to work with her because us tour guides need to stick together. So hopefully in the future there will be more, especially if people travel to DC, more collaborations, but it was a happy accident that it worked out. Sharon Harris from Pennsylvania, good to see you there, Sharon. And Eric Gonzalez from Lima, Peru will be in DC in January. Excellent, good to hear it. This is the Canadian Embassy and my favorite Christmas tree. My favorite underappreciated Christmas tree, I should say. I'm gonna see if I can get around on the other side to go up the stairs and see it up close. Of course, it's the Canadian Embassy, so the tree has to have red and white lights on it. This is the only embassy in this part of town. It is the closest embassy to the US Capitol, the Embassy of Canada. I know we have at least one Canadian in the audience who introduced themselves earlier, so if you're still here, let me know. Looks like I can't get up the stairs on this side. Not sure why they always do this. They make you come all the way around to this side to get up the stairs. Here it is in all of its glory. This is a good spot for the tree too. This is an echo chamber. Some tour guides who do a tour down Pennsylvania Avenue will stop here when the tree's not up, and they'll stand right in the middle there and they'll do the echo chamber. So we've got a sign here. It says Pure Christmas, Nova Scotia Balsam Fir. I assume that's the type of tree. If anyone is an expert on trees and can confirm, this tree may have come from Nova Scotia. Chance Douglas has been following for quite a while before moving to DC. And last night enjoyed the Christmas boat parade. Good to hear it. I also went to the Christmas boat parade. I decided to go to a much lesser attended spot because it looked like it was going to be very, very crowded over there for the Christmas boat parade. And Simon Davey, another big fan of the collaboration with the Megan Daly. So if you do make it to New York, you can go on themegandaly.com. I think that's the name of the website. And Megan is a tour guide as well. Probably much better than I am a tour guide, to be honest. Because if you watch really closely, you'll notice that in the collaboration videos, she does almost all of her clips in one take. And I can't do that. I'm not that good. To do the clips in a single take is really, really hard if you've ever tried to make videos. And you have to be especially skilled to do it. And so I asked Megan, I was like, how do you do that? Do it in a single take? And she was like, it's just the same way I give the tour. Which I guess makes sense. When you're giving the tour, you don't get multiple takes, you just get the one take. All right, so that was the Canadian Embassy. Let's see it one more time on the way out. One of my favorite lesser known spots to come for a Christmas photo. And unlike the other Christmas trees, you often have the place to yourself because not very many people know about it. All right, Mark Finley's voting for the Texas flag. I was wondering when somebody was going to say the Texas flag. And Mark Finley says, my favorite Greek place in Arlington closed down. Yeah, that's a bummer. Restaurants are always opening and closing, so there's always going to be a natural churn with restaurants, and so definitely places have closed down. I think the great fear in March 2020 was that like everything was going to close down, that there was going to be nothing left. It was just going to be absolute devastation. So the worst fears were not realized. But if you have come here before, or gone any city for that matter before, the next time you go, when you go back, your favorite place might be gone, and it could be for a lot of different reasons. So like I said, Cava Mezze, which I did really like. It was very sad to hear that it closed, but it sounds like it was a landlord dispute more than anything else. All right, we've got another vote from Jason for the Maryland flag as the best flag. I'm the only one who's voted for New Mexico so far. I don't even have any connection to New Mexico. I just think they have a cool flag. I'm not even sure if I've ever been there. And Simon says, seeing the old museum makes me sad. Yeah, they had one of the largest continuous pieces of the Berlin Wall. They had part of the World Trade Center. I mean, they had some cool stuff in there. And some of it's gone to other museums, some of it's gone into storage. It's just sad. The whole story's sad. But they tried to run a for-profit museum in DC, and that's hard. It's hard to run a paid museum in a city where there's over a dozen free museums of similar caliber. So I get it. I get why it didn't work out, but yeah, just a sad story all around. And Mark Finley got to see the museum before it closed. Oh, yes, Planet Word is excellent. So I think they're still doing a suggested donation, so put some money in there when you go if you don't mind. But yeah, Planet Word is surprisingly good. Now, Planet Word is how do they describe it? Museum of language? I don't want to say grammar, that's not accurate. Museum of language, I suppose. Museum of words. Which sounds really boring, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. HGG, yes, I'm glad you think everything is beautiful. I think the Canadian tree is awesome. And where is that Christmas tree? It's on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's at, I believe, 4th and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest at the Canadian Embassy. So if you go on Google Maps and type in Canadian Embassy, it should be pretty easy to find. But it's right on Pennsylvania Avenue. All right, Austin A, dropping more knowledge here, says it might be a lesser Nova Scotia balsam fir. I know nothing about plants. What other embassies have Christmas trees? I assume most, if not all of them, have them, but probably inside the building rather than outside. That's a good question, though. So most embassies in Washington, D.C. are either on Embassy Row, which is Massachusetts Avenue Northwest, or way up by the Van Ness metro station. And the Van Ness ones, they typically are the newer ones, so countries that built an embassy from scratch, they like built a new building, whereas the Embassy Row ones tend to be the older buildings. But I haven't been over to either of those places in a while, so not sure if any have them set up on the outside, but my hunch is that they almost all probably have something on the inside. And yes, that one, the red and white one, that was at the Canadian Embassy. Hopefully that answered that question. Thank you, Alan Wynn. I'm a little behind on the chats, as you can see. And Rom, good to see you there from Naples, Florida. Glad to hear that you enjoy the videos. We'll be there on the 18th for a week. Very nice. I assume you mean December 18th. Excited to go to Nationals Park. Is that something that I recommended? So there is Enchant Christmas at Nationals Park. But I did not necessarily endorse that one because it's a little pricey. And I have to be honest here, I'm a little bit annoyed with those guys because I contacted them twice. And I said, hey, I'm making this Christmas video, things to do in DC for Christmas. Can you send me some photos or B-roll to include in my video? And they just ghosted me. And so, I don't know, I feel a little annoyed. I wasn't asking them for anything. I wasn't asking them for free tickets. I wasn't asking them for anything. I was just asking them for some photos so I could give them free press, and they ghosted me. So I am not necessarily endorsing that one, but I went past yesterday after the boat parade, and it was popping. So a lot of people there. But it's pretty pricey, and there's a lot of upcharges too, which I find kind of gross. All right, Arctic penguins. Everybody's voting for Maryland here. Of course, lots of Marylanders in the audience. Vocabulary, that's a good way to describe it. Museum of Vocabulary. All right, Simon Davey says, the British Embassy has a fur from the Glen Rothes estate in Scotland. That's interesting. And the decorations are all made by kids at the British School in DC. I had one of my decorations put up on that tree back in '94. Wow. Is that an outdoor tree? I assume that's an outdoor tree, Simon. Yeah, the British Embassy has a big compound up on Embassy Row, and they've got a big statue at Churchill outside and everything, so I assume you could probably see it from outside the gate. Alex says an embassy tour would be awesome. Good to know. I have not done one, either in real life or live, but if people are interested in an Embassy Row tour, I know the exact person who could help me out with that. And Sharon Harris says, will I be going to the U.S. Botanic Garden tonight? They always have such a great Christmas display made out of natural, I think you probably got cut off, made out of natural things like trees and plants. I don't know if they're open late on Sunday night. I don't think they are, but if anyone wants to go on their website and check, I can maybe make an extra pop over there. The inside stuff is all closed this year. So they set up some stuff outside, and they moved the train outside, so that's kind of cool. But I don't think they're open late on Sundays, but if anyone is able to confirm that, I can potentially go over there. And okay, Simon Davey confirming that the British Embassy tree is outdoors. So we know of at least 2 outdoor trees at embassies. You can see it from the main gate, and it's an impressive sight. There's also a great coffee place nearby. I am a fan of coffee. All right, we are almost there. A little bit behind schedule. I was hoping to get here before we hit an hour, but that's okay. We'll be here soon. So as I say, every single time I do this route, the National Christmas Tree has way bigger crowds, but the Capitol Christmas Tree, in my opinion, is just so much nicer, so much better. So let me know what you think after we get up close. Do you agree or disagree with my take? Jay Stewart, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Very much appreciated. Looking forward to seeing you next year when you make it back. Are you watching, do you have multiple screens going, Jay? Watching the football game and the live stream? Goes to show how much of an NFL fan I am. It's hard when the Washington football team is, well, they're not as bad as they ever have been, but they're kind of embarrassing. Well, the ownership is embarrassing, I should say. Got the whole RG3 book that just came out. What a mess. All right, Dave Wheeler has a good question. How many miles do I walk in a day? So it depends if I'm giving a tour or not. If I give a tour, I do have the Fitbit, and I think if I give a tour, I do about 20,000 steps. I don't know what that translates into miles. If I don't do a tour, it's probably only about half that. Probably not even that, half that. Okay, Sharon Harris, sorry, I don't know why I misread that, agrees about the Capitol. This is my favorite tree of all the Christmas trees. The Canadian tree is nice. The national tree is nice, but this one is the chef's kiss. And this year's, so like the Pageant of Peace, every year a different state contributes the national Christmas tree. And this year the tree is from California. I can't remember the name of the national forest, but it is in Northern California. I did follow along the tour route that the tree took on its way over here. And so usually what that means is that the ornaments are themed for the state where the tree came from. And this is my first time over here this year. I did not come over here before this, so this is my first time seeing it too. And I will see if I can spot any California themed ornaments on this year's tree. Now notice how nobody said that California has the best state flag, which I tend to agree with, because it has the word California on it. It's one of those states that has its name on the flag. These kids over here on my left are trying to pick out the ornaments too. I'm not sure what the Bigfoot connection is, but there you go. Oh, I do see the Bigfoot on there. Probably hard to see on the screen, I'm sure. But I do see Smokey the Bear. I see Bigfoot. Willow Creek. More Smokey the Bears over there. Hard to see in the dark, I have to admit. I would have to come back during the day to see exactly what these ornaments are, what they look like up close. But I'll go back and zoom out so we can get the whole tree. Now, this is a pretty good view too. If you're over here, taking the view with the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial way off in the distance over there. And the statue of Ulysses S. Grant right in front. All right, Jay Stewart is watching from his phone and getting football updates. And Alan Wynn says the architect of the Capitol accepted the tree from Forest Supervisor Ted MacArthur of Six Rivers National Forest in Northern California. Thank you for looking that up, Alan, or maybe you just knew, not sure. Simon Davey is a fan of this tree. I am too. This is a good one. And HGG says, I know what they're going to say about it. I sure do know what you're going to say about it. If unless it turns out that you liked all the previous ones and you just for whatever reason didn't like this one, which I think would be strange, but I suppose it's possible. Ocean Angel is a fan. Sharon Harris is a fan. And Alan says, being a California boy, I'm surprised our contribution of a tree isn't on fire. It's a nice one. It's thinner, I think, than the trees of the past few years. I mean, I'm racking my brain here. I'd have to go look at old photos, but this one looks like a really thin, tall tree. Now, they're usually about this tall. They're usually about, I don't know, 60 feet tall, something like that. But usually, I guess they're a little bit wider on the bottom. But that just could be a incorrect memory. I don't know. So, Dave Wheeler, wife loved the tree. Good to hear it. Yeah, every time I take a tour group over here this time of year, and I am not running the Christmas tour this year, or rather, I am running it, but only by request only. So, if you're in DC and you want to take that tour, I am running it, but by request only. Only because now that the museum is closed, it's kind of a long stretch down Pennsylvania Avenue where it's dark and there's not a lot to see. But we did it tonight, so. And Megan from Bethesda, thanks for tuning in, Megan. So now that we've made it all the way to our destination, I will begin wrapping up and saying goodbye. And if you are a TripHacks DC insider, we will begin, let me frame up the shot here. We will begin the extended walk in about 5 minutes. So give me a few minutes to turn off the stream, reset the phone, and then I will turn on the extended live walk. If you are not yet a TripHacks DC insider and you want to check that out, there is a link in the description. You can click that. You can join as an insider, and then you can get access to all the perks, including extended walk tonight and every time I do one of these live walks. Otherwise, I will say, Jay Stewart, thank you for tuning in, my friend. Good luck to your favorite football teams. And Mike Hess, thanks for tuning in. Didn't see you there, Mike. Austin A., thank you for joining. Thank you for your thoughts on the flags and your knowledge on the 6-star generals. And HGG, glad you like the trees. And Jason, have a good night, my friend. Arctic Penguin, thank you for tuning in as well. So if you are an insider, give me a few minutes to wrap this one up and start that, and then we will begin. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. And as I say at the end of all of these, enjoy your trip.